But someday next week, maybe, or 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, whenever we decide to go, we're going to spend some time over Area 51 and actually try to discover what is actually going on over there.
And there's another thing, because for those of you that want to know, that episode will be a special hour-and-a-half episode, because we will debate and read the actual documents that were put in. You can see, and you can see it for yourself what's there. Not only that, but you'll be able to hear the documents. Number two, those documents have been researched by Stan Friedman, who, by the way, is a nuclear physicist, and unless you people have any credentials like he does, I don't want to hear it, because I know you don't. He went over those documents with a fine-tooth comb. And you want to know the funny part? He found that all those people existed, all those people's ranks were accurate. Well, in order for it to be accurate, in order for those to exist, then obviously something really is going on, because reality is somebody can't dummy up a document and have all those people ranked. What are the odds of that?
Pretty slim. Very slim, man. That's all I have to say.
Okay, now that brings me to another issue, and that this is actually caused the debate of this whole thing, and you can debate all you want, because reality is this UFO phenomenon is not just about us. It's not just about them. There's more to it than that. Because I'm going to say it because I don't have to mention any names. But our government, okay, reality is some people out there doesn't even know the definition of patriot is. Okay, they think a patriot stands for the government. That's not what it stands for, because when I went in the military, and I was in for 11 years, and you went in, we took an oath, and that oath specifically said that we will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and defend the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That means that we're going to be presenting and protecting the people of the United States. They never told me I had to protect the government. Do you remember that in your oath?
Nope. Never remember that part.
So, I mean, let's get this real. Okay, now I want your feedback on this. In other words, what you're saying is, since everybody wants to go out there and say you have rights, well, I say you have no rights. You have privileges. Okay? And those privileges can be taken away at a drop of a dime. And if you want proof of this, drunk drivers get their driver's license revoked or suspended. You can get it revoked. You can have your house taken away. You own that house, right? Allegedly. You don't have any rights. And they get smaller and smaller because you, as a people, don't do anything about it. But how would you feel, and you have to answer that, you own a gun to protect yourself, because we've got a lot of idiots that break in. So you own a gun. Now, government comes in, says you can't own guns. But here's the funny part. We have the right to bear arms. I mean, what would you do?
I would do my best to fight that, because in the Constitution it says we have the right to bear arms, which gives us the right to have a weapon of our choice. Yes, it must be registered and everything else with your name and everything, but you have that right to bear an arm, and you have that constitutional right. And for anyone to say that you do not have a right to have any weapons whatsoever, not including, you know, murderers and stuff like that, that's different. They shouldn't have a weapon anyways, but no citizen should have a right to bear arms that is in the Constitution. And as long as they have a permit for that weapon, they should have the right to hold on to that weapon.
That's true, and that brings us to the same topic of patriotism. Because our four founding fathers, believe it or not, was committing high treason. Because in that time frame of 1776, the United States, or the 13 colonies, were under the British rule. Okay, they didn't like double taxation without representation. They didn't like the Queen, their rules, because they weren't free. So Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, and our four founding fathers, and a lot of people got together and committed high treason in signing the Declaration of Independence. And what happened was, because we won the war, things happened. But had we have lost, they would have been hung, shot, and probably had their balls cut off. So when you look at patriotism, you really got to understand that word. Because as far as I'm concerned, the only thing I care about is the people. That's the thing I protect, the people. Not the plants, not the trees. Well, that's part of it, but it's mostly the people. It's not the government. You have a thought on that?
Not right now.
And there is something that's in. There was a comment, and I saw this on YouTube, and there was a comment that the government, the NWO, is going to be using gangs for shock troops. Okay? There was a quote underneath there that said the MS-13 doesn't like the government and would be the first one to fight in the front lines. Well, that's the best thing, but here's another factor that everybody should realize. I only see one race, and that's the human race. And if we don't unite, if we can't settle our petty differences, and we can't come together as a human species, then they're going to win.
Yes, that's true. We have to unite as one. There is no race here. I mean, I have friends in every single race possible out there. And we have to unite as brothers and sisters to win this war. And we cannot allow the government to create a new world order and unite all these countries, control all the banks, and control us the way they want us. They want us like sheep. They want to control what we do, what we eat, when we sleep. And that is not free will, and that is not the American way. And I will not allow it, and I hope you guys will not allow it as well.
Because reality is, as far as I'm concerned, we were born free. Now there's all those things on YouTube and on the internet about a V-chip. You know what? There's so many sheep out there. There's so many sheep that will just follow. You're going to follow the slaughter. Reality, it's time to wake up. Time to find out what's going on. What is going on? Because see, as far as I remember, and even JFK said it, it was a government for the people, by the people. I mean, really, do you think your vote counts? You want to explain how the Electoral College works to them?
Well, back in the day when they had 13 colonies, the Electoral College worked. Population wasn't that huge in different states, so it was kind of unfair. But now that we have all these states, 50 states, and we have all this population, the Electoral College is kind of against the people, because if you have, let's say, 100,000 people that voted for one person, 100,001 person voted for another. Well, now that 100,001 is going to get all that Electoral College number just to him. It's not split, it's not divided, it just goes to that one person, which is, to me, is totally unfair. I think the Electoral College should be wiped out and should be all on popular vote only. Let's go through the whole state of all 50 states, and whoever has the total highest possible vote, a popular vote, should win the presidency. It should not be based on electoral votes, no more.
And that's the thing. See, people all over the world, and the colleges have done this before, but a lot of college students exercise their right. And that means they go out and they get petitions. Okay? 20,000 signatures on a petition can change the law. It can change the law. Why? Because we as a people did not want this to go. But see, that's the problem, because nobody does it. And that's why I said, when you start researching into this UFO phenomenon that they call it, I call it a lot of beginnings, but if you research it, you'll see a lot more than just that. Everything really intercorrelates. It really intertwines. Okay? Planet X. Obviously, that's happened before. The dinosaurs were wiped out. We've had an ice age. This planet's been destroyed several times. It's a cycle, just like the rock cycle. So, I mean, if you can't accept it, then you'll never understand it. But if you can accept that things happen in cycles, then you know things are going to happen over and over and over and over again. And in understanding that, that's what makes you know you're supposed to advance as a species. Because you weren't promised this place forever.
That's correct. So, for our next show, you're probably going to hear a lot of topics about what's going on. We got a little article that we're going to read to you about what we found back in 1999 and everything else. And most likely our next show will probably be featuring coming from Area 51.
Yep, so until then, good night all.
Good night.